Hello, my name is Nick from nosmallcreator. We are a collective of individuals from all over the globe
that create content on YouTube.
We have various backgrounds from filmmaking and graphic design
to office, construction, engineers, and digital consultants.
And voiceover artists like myself. We want to talk to you in real time
about how COVID-19 is affecting us in the regions that we live in.
So that we can connect as a whole without the government
or media agendas interfering with any narrative.
We will post weekly or as often as we can. We're taking videos from each region and putting
together to create one voice about the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are all affected,
no matter where we live. We aim to show
unity and solidarity amongst the various countries
to help us feel closer together even though we may be oceans apart.
Hello, and this week we're doing creativity.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. It's been really difficult for me to be creative, not just within the past week, but within the past couple weeks.
Over the past few months, I've tried to create something every day. This was significantly easier before the lockdown.
Country gets locked down, weddings come to an end, and my entire creative outlet for the year just gets pulled from underneath me.
One of my favorite hobbies is photography. And during this pandemic, I've had ample opportunities to hone my craft. And it's not very much of a craft. I just like to tool around with it, and man, is it fun. Recently, in my hometown of Buffalo, New York, I traveled to the J.J. Richardson complex. It used to be an institution for the mentally insane in the 1800s. There's lots of stories that at one point it became incredibly overcrowded and a lot of the patients were tortured, even though that the intentions were good initially for the mentally ill. Now it's been bought and rebranded as a hotel, or Hotel Henry as they call it. You can stay there and see if it's haunted for yourself. I stayed on the outside and I just took photos and some video. It's really a beautiful place to look at. I was secretly hoping to catch some ghosts in the windows.
I have had some extra time in the 2 months that I was off of work. I'm actually going back to work in the beginning of June, and that feels really weird. I've really enjoyed the time that I've had to do more editing than I was able to do before. Collecting the fun memories of my kids playing. I've noticed two things. Either a deadline for making something gives me a sense of drive towards accomplishing it and the creativity is turned on, or I get scared and distant and it feels like a heavy burden of something I don't want to do anymore. And it's just really strange how that is. Something that has never let me down in terms of making me feel better is making junk journals, making books out of cardboard and cereal boxes, and just taping and gluing in whatever pretty things inside there just spark life. Just a simple joy in just sitting and gluing and cutting and just putting it on pages, giving it a home.
Social distancing. Can you even believe this term? Only a few short months ago, this was a non-existent phrase, and then, poof, it's likely the most common term being used in all the world. Here in Michigan, so many are fighting for a normal life. Small gatherings of 10 or less while social distancing has been allowed, but looking to the future, I've come face to face with a crazy realization. For those that say the future is online, the future is now. Jobs, social events, entertainment, banking, shopping, it's all online. Businesses have been forced to close their doors permanently. As a young adult, I'm watching and listening. In the midst of change and challenges, I'm finding ways to help others and implement creative career strategies like online freelancing, brand deals, YouTube, affiliate marketing. Going from a future I thought likely to a future I'm living in right now. This is when I feel the most creative.
Creating was one of the best ways I knew to appreciate the green and the calm and the traffic around me. I would go to pick up my sister and see gardeners meticulously trimming the shrubs, or go to Lake Naivasha and cry every time. Or I'd spend hours at a coffee shop and love every minute of it. As a thank you to these moments, I'd create. Kenya has been on lockdown for over 2 months, but I've still tried to keep up my creative habit. Some days I create something big like a YouTube video. and other days I bake cinnamon rolls or make pancakes. Even if all I do is color, I try to create.
I've been having heaps of fun in my succulent garden. I only just got started in this hobby a year or two ago with a few cuttings from my mum's garden, and since then I've made it a habit to continue to collect cuttings from wherever I go. So I've got all sorts of really interesting little plants. This one, this beautiful green colour now, but if that goes out into the sun for a few weeks, it turns bright yellowy orange. It's a really great hobby because it's so easy to do, they're so easy to take care of, and it's so much fun watching your plants have babies. Just recently I got a bunch of interesting cuttings from a lady named Monique, and I'm going to send some back her way that she doesn't have. So Cam made me a nice little box out of pallet wood, and I'm going to put a few plants into it. I'm going to start with some zebra plants because she doesn't have any of those, so I'll grab a few babies. I'm going to rip this bad boy out by the roots, snap it in half, pop the top back into the pot to keep growing, then rip off all the leaves to turn into new plants. You just pop them into the ground, cover them up with a bit of soil, then each one will start to grow into a new little plant.
Recently, between my friend moving and all these other projects that I have going on, it's just been so hard to feel creative, at least creative toward video projects I should be making for my channel. Like, I have lists of ideas, so instead I'm choosing to creatively take care of myself. And that is often going for a run and creatively having ways to exercise. Like, I've purchased a whole bunch of resistance bands just because all the gyms are closed as far as I know. But really soon I'm gonna have to get creative with how I interact with my environment, because the one friend who I often talk with is moving, and it's gonna be a world of change, and I'm gonna have to creatively put myself out there and make an effort to interact and talk with and do things with the people that I am friends with in the area that I maybe don't hang out with as much.
Really, on that subject about how my creativity has improved during quarantine is really due to the changes that have happened in my state. 46 out of the 67 counties in Pennsylvania have now moved to the second phase of reopening. And really how this has affected my own creativity is that now I'm allowed to go to archery ranges and shoot. During quarantine, I've really been trying to make archery more cinematic and putting sequences together that just really show how amazing, cool, and really beautiful the sport actually is. There's just something more to archery than just having a success, having a win, meeting new friends, getting to shoot with new people, or just enjoying the sport in general. There's something more to the sport than just that. And this is what I'm trying to show through these cinematic sequences.
Country gets locked down, weddings come to an end, and my entire creative outlet for the year just gets pulled from underneath me. So not only was it like my entire sort of creative outlet, but it was also a good chunk of my income. And when that hits all at once, it hits pretty hard. So I didn't really want to pick up a camera for the first couple of weeks of lockdown. I didn't really want to be creative after having all that pulled from under me. But then I realised that I enjoy being creative. It's part of me. It's part of who I am. So I created little projects to keep me busy and to try and keep that creativity going until things get back to normal and I can go and shoot weddings again and I can go be around loads of people. So I started doing doorstep portraits, going out on walks and seeing friends and taking portraits. And then the other week I did a creative portrait with one of my neighbours for an entry to the National Portrait Gallery as well. So going from having everything taken away to then not wanting to be creative and then forcing myself, I've kind of come out the other side feeling that, you know, whatever life throws at me, I can still be creative, and I'm totally fine with that.
Sometimes the most creative thing you can do is to simply not be creative, and that's kind of what I've been doing lately, all for the sake of trying to take care of myself, which is equally important during such a crazy time where no one really knows what to do, how to move forward, or what the future will look like from this point on.
Thank you so much for watching.
Please share this video.
We'll see you next week.